But yeah, like right now, I'm in this annoying loop, or not loop, really, because it isn't a loop, but it's just this disappointing trajectory where I just don't feel like I'm satisfied with anything, you know? Because I constantly feel like something is missing because I'm progressing towards something that I need. It's not something that I want, it's something that I now need, you know? Like, you can easily make the argument of something like an OLED, for example, or, you know, some like other enthusiast product like that. You don't need that, you know? And I knew that very well going into this, but it just so happens that I got such an amazing deal on this that, you know, it really was a no-brainer, and still is. And I'm even getting a 60 euro cashback for the monitor too, so it actually costed 520 euros for a 4K Penta Tandem OLED 3rd generation QD. You know? Like, you know. Like, it's ridiculously good value. But like, you know. And I knew VRR flickering was a thing going into this, and by the way, that is not the main issue here anyways. Though, you know, the OLED did propose other issues such as the studio lighting. But that was just simply a side effect of something that there never should be as a problem in the first place. Also, why am I here? Oh, there's one door in here that I need to also take actually. There's that Feather Transcendence / Winged Ascension door here that I need to take. I forgot to take it when I just kind of walked past this area previously. Yeah, I was gonna go here. But actually, let me just say what I wanna say before we move on. But yeah, so oh wait, WUCHANG is not. Actually, it's an Unreal Engine game, so it probably auto-targets this game anyways. Because I was just recording Remnant just moments ago. But yeah. Right, what was I gonna say? Where was my strength of point again? So... what the fuck was that? Why did the entire screen just flicker? That's coming from the game, by the way. Because I can see it on the past broadcast too. That's not like... If it's a monitor defect, like whatever the fuck this is, I would only be able to see it on my screen. But you can see it on the capture card too, so... It's not coming from the monitor. Interesting. So, anyways, yeah, so, I need like a few products sold. Well, several products sold. And then after that, I can go to the AM5 build, and then after that, we should be set. But it's not that I don't have anything like exciting to look for. Like, do you wonder as to what is the reason as to why I don't just randomly like, especially like on stream, which most of the time when I play something nowadays, I wanna do it on stream because I always feel like if I don't stream or record something, like it's like when I play off stream any game, I like, okay, so you know how I like to talk about like things inside of the games, like their stories, their backstories, the lore, the character dialogue, and anything that the game has to offer, you know, because I want to say something about it, because it's exciting, you know, and I'm enthusiastic about such things. But if I know that there is nobody that is there to listen, even theoretically speaking, and I'm not recording something for prosperity, you know, then honestly I don't find it too interesting to explore like the backstories, the stories, the characters, the like dialogue, like I take it all in, yes, but because I can't say anything about it, it just makes it so much less interesting for me, you know, because I know that regardless of what I want to say about it, or if I would want to say something about it, to add on to it, or just, you know, ponder about things, like, it doesn't mean anything, because I would be just sitting here literally only either thinking to myself in my own head, which, by the way, just normal gamers do when they just play alone, of course, but, you know, it's, like, I want to say something about it, you know? And so when I play these games off stream, like Remnant for example, or anything else I might, that I don't think is interesting enough for me to stream or record again as for the time being, then because I feel like my input on what I want to say is not important enough anymore, that it's easier for me to just play it off stream and not like put on any kind of like presentation. Because like streaming or recording is not fucking easy. Like it is not easy one fucking bit. You do this for some amount of time and try to be consistent, it is so fucking difficult. Because it's a creative only process. You know, it's just down to only you. You have no obligation whatsoever. Every single bit of this, you know, this content creation side comes from just how interested and invested are you to doing what you do. If you lose motivation or drive for it, then, you know, nobody's there to fire you, you know, when you just work from like 9 to 5 like the Americans say or something, you know? Like that is so easy in comparison. But that is also assuming that you're making money from this, you know? And when we put that metric into it, then you most likely will stream more hours per day. There's also that, you know? Or record more hours per day, and, you know, there's some... Well, I'm not gonna get into this right now, because, like, it's not my point, what I'm trying to say here. But, like... Because I was chasing this point before, I went on this small tangent, is that when I, like, want to... Okay, so... It's not that there's nothing right now when it comes to gaming that doesn't excite me. Like, I want to make that clear. Like, there's many new games that I haven't played yet that I would be excited to play, but I just want to find time for them because I have other games that I want to play, right? Like, Pragmata, for example, came out like a couple days ago or something, and that game I wanted to play, like, definitely when it comes out. But because of, you know, my circumstances the past, like, several months now, or a few months, let's say, it's been difficult, so, to find time for such things. So, instead, like, I'm very excited to go back to, like, From Software games, as an example. Like, I want to play with this QD OLED, all From Software's games, again in chronological order, or so. Saving like Bloodborne after Dark Souls 3 as the only exception. So like going Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, maybe Sekiro. The thing with something like Sekiro, you know, before Elden Ring is that it's so different game that I think I wanna find my own time for it and just play it kind of like separate from the other ones. Because like I would likely play like 5 playthroughs of Sekiro, like honestly, not even like kidding. Maybe even more, to be honest. That game is just so fucking good to replay. It's one of the best value like RPG games to just play on a loop. Like, if there's one game, one like action game that you can just play from start to finish on a loop and just be satisfied with, Sekiro. Just play that for like, you know, an entire year, like every day. No complaints whatsoever. Fucking amazing game. But anyways, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, and like Elden Ring. Like those I would be very excited to visit. Especially Elden Ring. It's been long enough time when I played Elden Ring last time, and you know, I feel like it's time to go back, you know? And also because I came up with one build that I was gonna do in that game, but I actually didn't finish it because I was already so like exhausted by the just the scale of the game. Like, it's just like every single game that is open world would likely be better if it wasn't open world. It's just, you add so much of the scale, but the quality of the content, and well, actually Elden Ring is a bit of an exception to that, because the quality of what there is actually very good all the time, but you know, because it's From Software. But you know, like the time between going from like say one dungeon in the overworld to like another dungeon, or one area of interest to another area of interest, like that time in between and the physical space in between these areas is like, that doesn't have to exist. What does it serve? You know? Like, I get in a game like Red Dead Redemption, for example, like, the game is based on real life, like, very large scale, like, counties and, like, locations, you know? I get in a game like that, having it be open world makes a lot of sense, because of what the game is based on. But something like Elden Ring is an example. What is the reason why it's open world, you know? So it's just like, it gets really exhausting because of how slow it is to make new builds and progress in the game. And here's the annoying thing, or the kind of like conundrum with it, is that, well, if that's the issue, why don't you just run from point A to point B and just get the things you want, to create the character or the build you want faster, and just kind of ignore the unnecessary stuff? Well, games are meant to be explored, they aren't meant to be worked through, let's say. So if you're being too efficient when you play some game, you are likely playing it wrong. Unless it's a competitive game. But if you're playing a game that is supposed to be just kind of like fantasy, sci-fi, single-player story experience or action experience, if you play one of those games and you try to be too efficient with your time and what you're doing inside the game, you are likely playing it wrong. You are playing it for the wrong reasons, and you're also playing it wrong. Like, the idea with an open world, the thing that makes it so enticing for so many people is that you can go, you can do whatever you want, and just the mere experience of it existing inside the game, even when there's not anything happening, is an experience in on its own self that is worth savoring at times. So just like the mere like traversal, the scenery you see, the landscapes and stuff, you know, if you like don't take all of this in and you just run from point A to point B and just, you know, beeline from one part of the progress on a character build to the next, then what does the open world serve? It's literally just an obstruction for you to be able to play the game the way you wanted, that makes the playing through the game slower. So, you know, if you're gonna come up with the argument of, you know, just don't play Elden Ring as an open world game by just wanting to do everything and wanting to explore everything there is, and that is the reason as to why it gets exhausting through several playthroughs, is because of how slow and big the game is, well, that's the game's fault. You know, it's like you are supposed to play an open world the way that you want. It is just an experience for you to explore and exist within it. You know, it's not there just to be annoying with the traversal because of how long it takes from get to one point to the next, you know? So, enough playthroughs on a game like that, it's gonna get you exhausted eventually, you know? So, especially like something like Elden Ring, after I, you know, had very decent amount of time now when I played it last time, you know, from the DLC and especially from the base game, you know, going back to continue a build from the beginning, to be honest, that I was doing, or was thought of doing, last time when I was still playing the game, is very exciting. Like, I wanna see how I feel about the game after I've had even more experience. And more cross-referencing and experience from some other games, you know? See how I feel about the game. But yeah, as I was on this very long-winded explanation here, I don't feel like there is not anything when it comes to gaming that doesn't interest me or excite me right now. That's not the issue. It's that I just feel like I feel so like dampened down, I guess we can say, by just the recent events and the events from the last like few months in a row. It just compounds one issue on top of another issue, just one progress point just creates another stepping stone for like the next progress point, and it just feels like it doesn't end. So it's just, yeah. I feel like I'm just gonna feel a whole lot better about this when I actually start playing those games again. Like when I'm done with this WUCHANG playthrough and the Steel Rising playthrough. Although, like, at this point I would say that's sunk cost fallacy for these two games. Like, yeah, sure, okay, WUCHANG is a different case, because I did say that I never wanted to touch this game again. Well, I'm more open to complete this playthrough, I guess, just for the mere reason of just wanting to see the possibility of if I could be less annoyed by this playthrough compared to the first playthrough, because I got such a shit taste in my mouth from this fucking game in the first playthrough that you know, recuperating that experience by just playing through the game again is not a bad idea. Now, Steel Rising, on the other hand, is kind of pointless. There's not really any reason for me to like complete Steel Rising, because I've already played everything there is. I've played through the game like 3 times. One time on a full playthrough, and then another time on a fragmented playthrough, and then the 3rd time on the previous playthrough on YouTube that I have very few highlights of. So this is like the 4th like actual like full playthrough of the game or something, you know? So I could stop Steel Rising and just focus only on this game, finish it, and then go to Dark Souls 1. Oh, and by the way, Demon Souls, just don't. I played the original Demon Souls at one of my friends' houses, and then I played it on a PS3 emulator as well, and oh my god, dude, that game. The very first boss of the game, it was just so mind-numbing, I just quit. I could go back to see how it is, but like, that fight felt genuinely impossible. Like, I would rather fight Melancholy at soul level 1 in Elden Ring than that fucking phalanx boss in the early game. Delusion grips, conviction burns, greed and folly take their turns. Breathless veils pierce through the night, lifeless forms devoid of light. What am I supposed to do with that? So it's different this time around, okay. Let me just try to like cognitively like prepare my brain for what the fuck this game is, rather than focusing on what I just said previously. Need to change my attitude, maybe? I don't know. Delusion grips, conviction burns, greed and folly take the turns. Greed and folly. Restless veils pierce through the night. Lifeless forms of light. Quite dark. So I said better transcendence is what I answered last time. Does it matter what I answered last time, or do I just try to answer this correct? Hold up. Change the threads of fate over the course of this. Let me just read that one more time with some thought. Greed and folly. First line makes me think that it's foolish to like try to resist this course of destiny or action. Delusion grips, obviously literally what delusion stands for. Conviction burns, okay. Greed and folly take their turns. Greed and folly, so foolishness and greed. Insatiation. Breathless veils pierce through the night. Lifeless forms, they were void of light. I think that last line doesn't really mean much. I think we are missing some context on that last line to make any sense, but the first line is enlightening. So I think this is saying that we don't want to challenge the threads of fate. Although it depends on what our own conviction even is. Like, what do we, like, am I trying to like answer the riddle itself correct? Like what the text earlier mean, or am I trying to give the answer as the main character? So like what we stand for as the main character? Like what are we, like, what is our standing here on this question? I'm just gonna follow the course. That fits for the better transcendence more, because the better transcendence. No, but it depends on the point of view as well, to see if the better transcendence or the winged ascension is the course of destiny, and which one of them is the challenge of the threads of fate path. Yeah, fucking hell, I'm just gonna do this.
If obsession were but a fleeting notion,
I think I answered correct this time.
would the world still be steeped in such suffering?
You can apparently answer correct or incorrect on this. I checked the wiki on these questions actually some time ago. I have no idea why I did it, but I remember doing that at some point. What the What in the fuck am I in? Right as I was talking about Elden Ring, and now we are in some fucking mine in some over-leveled area in Caelid, of course, because fuck that. What the fuck are we doing in here? I know where this place is, by the way. This is like... This is way further in the game, like in the Cloudspire, like outskirts area. There's a cave that goes into him. What the fuck? So this is what happens if you answer the riddles correct. Okay. Understandable. What in the fuck? I didn't want to be here. What the fuck are we doing in here?